Congressman, is this the never-ending impeachment story? Did you think that they had put this aside?
This sounds like the children's, song from years ago, the song that never ends. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm really beginning to wonder, honestly, if Chairman Adler has amnesia. He doesn't remember we went through these fights last year. You don't get this information unless you're in impeachment mode. And formal impeachment. And then when they went into formal impeachment, they couldn't stand it. They had to rush it through so fast that they let evidence slide. They didn't go after anything that they wanted. They just wanted to get the president so bad. They were so obsessed with getting him impeached that they didn't follow the rules and the protocol. And now they're being told by the Supreme Court again to hold off. And frankly, they should have been told no, because we're not in a perpetual impeachment. If we are, this country's in trouble. Jerry Nadler needs to wake up and think about legislation, not investigating this president.
So explain to viewers what happened. So the Supreme Court said, no, you can't have these documents right now, but we're going to give you a chance to make your case before the 1st of June?
Yeah, it just is. It's sort of strange. They sort of punted it a little bit here. And the sad part about it is let's just be honest with the truth here in the law. They cannot have this information outside of an impeachment inquiry. Let me just be a reminder to everyone watching. I know this may come as a shock to the Democrats, especially Nadler and Schiff and Pelosi. The Senate acquitted the president in January. It's over. Impeachment is done. The American people do not need a rehash. But the only way they get back truly to get this through the law is to have an impeachment inquiry, and it sounds like that's all they want to do. To make this case would have to mean that they'd have to open an impeachment inquiry. You can't open an impeachment inquiry by press release or by fiat. It has to come from the House itself.
And then at the same time, Chairman Nadler says he is going to have a hearing where he wants to call up the Justice Department folks to have them explain their decision to drop the Flynn case. Does that give the Republicans an opportunity, though, to press and get some witness testimony?
Oh, I welcome it. I mean, if that's what the chairman wants to waste his time on, go right ahead, because we're going to have some discussion about this. We're going to give the Justice Department some time to discuss not only what happened in the Flynn case, but what happened with the corruption of Comey and Strzok and Page. And why don't we just go all the way back into the Oval Office with Obama and Biden and Susan Rice? And discussions of the unmasking and the leaking of that information. If the chairman wants to go here, fine, let's go there. But let's have a full hearing and not just a political show in which you're trying to get at the Department of Justice. Chairman Nadler, why don't we go back to legislation? Why don't we start fixing our infrastructure of the criminal justice system? Why don't we work on the immigration system? Why don't we do the things we're supposed to be doing instead of attacking this president?
I'm sure you read this morning, there was the article in the Washington Post and a couple of other places suggesting that Michael Flynn was never unmasked because his name was always there, because it's the FBI. I mean, are they splitting hairs pretty finely here?
They've been taking up for this hoax for a long time. Mainstream media cannot let this die because they'll have to admit they were complicit in it. They would have to admit that in this whole time they were believing Adam Schiff and others and discounting folks like myself and Nunez and Gowdy and others and Meadows and Jordan. And when we were the ones telling the truth all the time, and they just can't bring themselves to admit that, yes, they're just splitting hairs. They did demask. And Susan Rice is email in which she wrote to herself 2 weeks after the meeting. I've begun to believe she was not National Security Advisor. She was actually the disinformation advisor for the Obama administration. They run her out anytime they wanted to share disinformation with the public.